If a woman rejects you, what do? A. Walk away and take it maturely. B. Find a close friend to vent about your feelings to. Or C. Get on your knees on the spot and beg. If you picked A or B, you are wrong, because the answer is actually D. You kidnap them.
Oh my goodness!
What's good, everyone? Unfortunately, I have just discovered a new genre of man. That's right, a new guy has just dropped, and that is the Booktok Pick Me. And if you thought the Booktok girlies were bad, you are not even ready for these goobers. If you don't know what Booktok is, essentially it's the community on TikTok that discusses books. But they're infamous because a huge proportion of those books are just spice. And a huge proportion of that spice is dark romance, which is code for romanticized abuse. Now, I'm aware that there is nuance in this conversation. However, Booktok takes it to 100 all the time to an extremely unhealthy degree. And while the women are already bad enough on this platform, the men who pander to their gaze are on a whole other level. Now, our first goober to cover today is Shad. Now, Shad's most popular video is this absolute banger. Now look, I am a cis male, but every drop of estrogen in my body has just disintegrated out of pure terror because I can't even imagine having a feminine trait in the same timeline as this guy. That's right, this TikTok has made me transition from male to alpha male. And somehow this guy is the least disturbing guy we have to cover today. But seriously though, could you imagine this being pulled up at a job interview? Alright, look man, your resume looks good. We were gonna hire you, and then we did a little background check and we found your TikTok. Could you explain this? Alright man, so you see, there's like a group on TikTok and they all want me to kidnap them. Look man, like this looks terrible for the company. I don't think we can
Wait! He's perfect! Colleen Hoover?
And you'd expect the comments to be ripping into him, but no, like every single comment is gassing him up. Only if he's in the mafia or a werewolf, and only if it's in a book.
We gave him too many of our secrets, guys! Guys, he has too many of our secrets!
And on a side note, but why does every Booktok girly talk like wizards? Like, Booktok has summoned me! And they even be performing rituals. And on one of the very few negative comments he got, he replied to it with this insanity. I'm not even sorry for the way I've been acting. I've been nice for way too f***ing long, bitch. Imagine leaving a rather reasonable comment and getting this in your video replies. And while quite frankly, I doubt this dude is dangerous in real life, and that's not what I'm trying to imply at all, it's really, really creepy to me to see dudes pandering to the Booktok gaze and trying to be like these often very problematic, quote-unquote, book boys, which he even admits he's trying to do. And this one obviously isn't that crazy on the surface, but this comment had me dying. Like, I get what you're going for, but what does this mean? Did Braille write this comment? Now, to Shad's credit, he actually does read books, but this is an issue when you consider the content of the books he's reading. Like, if you're not familiar with Hunting Adeline, essentially, the main character's love interest essays her. And not only that, but this book's entire plot is just the main character getting brutalized. It's horrible. What? Why are you as a man reading this? And why are you complaining that other books don't have as much of it? Like, what do you gain from this? Why does this appeal to you? And why are you trying to find an audience that agrees with it? Again, I'm not trying to assume anything about Shad here, but it still feels a little icky to me. And I guess, really my point is that there's other websites for this. Why would you pick TikTok? A public, pretty unregulated platform full of minors? Regardless of intentions, that's just not responsible. Oh wait, it's because he plugs his OnlyFans here. This is a marketing scheme. Subscribe for a Shad OnlyFans review. Like, great job, dude. You promoted your OnlyFans on a platform full of minors. That's enough about Shad though. Let's talk about our next subject, Black Oxy. Now, Oxy leans entirely into the kidnapper side of his personality. He even has a whole kidnap sona, and that's all his content is about. And he too panders to the Booktok girlies. And for reference, the men in these books are often extremely abusive. Like, they're often stalkers, commit SA, are verbally or physically abusive, they're sometimes relatives, or have an extremely problematic age gap, and he's just admitting he's like trying to be like them to the Booktok girlies. Like, it's already creepy enough watching the women of Booktok do this, but it's just on a whole other level watching the men pander to that. Like, why do you like this? While you'd expect him to be doing this insane stuff because it got him attention, it actually doesn't. He doesn't get that many likes. Like, this one only had 276. Like he's just here for pure love of the game. I find it hilarious though how he has a contact named My Victim Devil Emoji Knife Emoji. And at what point in the incident did they swap numbers? Like, hey, I just wanted to say, I think you're really pretty. Can I get your number? Of course, you beautiful hot alpha Chad. You can go ahead and have my kids too. Appreciate it. Hey, don't you at least need my name though? No need. And side note, but I'm genuinely curious how this looks as court evidence too. I mean, I'm sure it can get dismissed as a joke or something. Never mind. Now, Oxy isn't nearly as popular as Shad is. He has an OnlyFans, he has a merch store, and an Instagram, but they're all really small. But in a way that makes it creepier to me, it's like, dude, you're not even getting much attention from this. Why this route? Like, I say this with an unblemished record of heterosexuality, but you look good. Like, you could just be a normal thirst trapper. Why are you picking this line of work? Oxy's entire business model is just saying the most out-of-pocket things ever and just watching as all the Booktok women roll into his comments. Now, I'm pretty sure Oxy's content does poison damage because every one of his comments are talking about how they can't breathe. And neither can I, but it's not out of attraction, it's because he's pulling on my leash too hard. Now, is he dangerous? Probably not, but he's definitely on that watch list speedrun, and I just really dislike the fact that you can come onto TikTok, post some absolutely insane kidnapper roleplay content, and then have a direct way to contact you in your bio. Like, this is a platform full of kids. What are you doing? There's other websites for this, allegedly. Now, before I get into my final thoughts on this trend, I want to cover one final guy, which there are many more. These are just the 3 that stuck out to me most. And that is Jack the Ripper, who is actually an author. Now look, Oxy is a generational kidnapper, but Jack is the LeBron James of kidnapping. He even posted his highlight tape.
The breaking news update, a death investigation with a large crime scene. Police tell us they found a man dead inside a home on Long Road around 8 o'clock last night.
This might be the hardest crime edit ever dropped. And how did he convince her to act in this? Like, babe, I need to make a kidnapping edit. Can I chase you through the woods real quick? Speaking of chases through the woods, this is what his book is about. And it's also called Jack the Ripper, so I really hope this isn't a biography. Something interesting about this book is that Jack is actually a diagnosed psychopath and he has some brain scans to prove it. And he stated on the news once that this book is a way to explore his urges. Like, what do you mean by that?
My book is honestly a mixture of like horror, dark romance, psychological thriller, and suspense, and just me channeling like my psychopathic thoughts, honestly.
I don't mean to stigmatize what he's going through because I can empathize with that. That sounds terrible to deal with. Like, psychopathy isn't something you could really control, and I hope he gets the help he needs. But the reason I'm including him in this video is because I really can't figure out what his motives are here. Now, I'm not his therapist, but I am pretty skeptical of the idea that this actually helps with these urges, and I really couldn't find any reading to back me up or back him up. But say it does, it's still weird to me that he chooses to promote this sort of content to an audience that's going to romanticize it. Like, why Booktok specifically? Why not, like, horror fans or true crime fans? No, all of his stuff is, like, thirst traps for Booktok or trying to promote his book among people who find it arousing. Like, why this demographic? What is the motive? And again, I don't know what the content of the book is going to be like. Like, I don't know if the book itself is going to romanticize these acts, but he sure as hell is promoting it among people who will do that. Now, Jack also posts all sorts of relatable crime content for those of us in the business. Like, dude, don't you just hate when they find the duct tape and tarps? Like, the slip and slide was supposed to be a surprise. And I get that the 4-foot hole is to sound threatening, but this one makes me think it's for another purpose. Ew. Me when I find a dentist I trust. Now, this might just be a marketing stunt, but it doesn't make it any less weird. Now, once again, I should specify, I'm not trying to assume anything about his character. I'm just trying to point out trends that I find concerning. And that leads me to my final thoughts. Now, the reason I made this video, other than as an excuse to make fun of thirst traps, because that is my favorite hobby, is because I worry where this trend is going. Now, there aren't a lot of men like this yet. And regardless of whether Shad, Oxy, and Jack are actually dangerous men, I find it really concerning that they can hop on this platform, say some crazy out-of-pocket stuff, and then get unanimous praise for it. And the reason I find this worrying is because, from what I can gather, in a lot of kink communities, there's already a huge issue with abusive, dangerous men, because due to the nature of these groups, they have a very high tolerance for this sort of behavior. So it makes it very hard to determine people with good intentions versus bad intentions. And it really bothers me to see this sort of thing get brought to a public platform that's rather unregulated and full of minors. And I pray that this trend dies down before somebody comes along who's actually serious about it. Because again, how are you supposed to tell the two apart? And that's ultimately why I made this video, because I found the trend concerning. Let me know if you'd like a longer video on Booktok, because I really enjoyed making this one. It was extremely funny to me. You could tell by my dead eyes. And yeah, that's all. Later.